Hello. To demonstrate how this model has already been unwrapped, we're going to look at how the texture coordinates have been, the unwrap modifier has been utilized for this model that we're looking at. To begin with, what we're going to do is we're going to apply the unwrap UV modifier. As you can see, I've already got a button here that allows you to unwrap the UV modifier. You can customize your menu, but the way you'll access it is if you go down into the modifier list, go and find the unwrap UV option, which is just here. Apply that, and you'll see all these green lines are appearing, and these are pretty much seams on the model that differentiate the different sections that the model has been segmented into for unwrap purposes. So you'd also see there's all these options that have appeared around on the menu that you're probably not familiar with. So what you can do is now we're going to open the Open UV editor. This is something that you use usually when you're doing texturing, especially unwrap UV based texturing. So if you click onto the Open UV editor, you'll see that this image has loaded up, and you can see you can make the connection here. So if I minimize that, I usually use the two screens here. I usually have my UV editor open on a different screen, but because I'm capturing this tutorial, I can't really do that right now. So I'm gonna just make it small, and I'm gonna just place it in this corner for now, just to show you what part it represents. So if I just scale that up, maybe scale that down, okay. See, you can see my system's already being sluggish because of the capturing software. So we've got our options here. We're familiar with these now. So your vertices, edge based, and polygon. So for instance, if I click on any of these faces to see what's what, for instance, if I click on this, you'll see that this is the face that's been put here for the unwrap purpose. So this has been taken, and this representation for this part of the model is appearing to be here. Then if I click on this one, you can see that it's all in that area. If I click onto this box here, you can see the windows, the windows are here. So this has been placed out deliberately in that manner. When you start off with the model, the model does not be already unwrapped in that position for you. You have to do this. This is the whole. This is what unwrapping really is, to create a coordinate system that gives you you create a map that you export out into Photoshop, and then start texturing. So if we look at this, this is already been laid out, and the way to see how in relation to our actual texture that we're seeing here, if I actually put on the texture, you can see now, if I zoom in, that this is laid out onto the actual texture. So if I go down here and just click on this face, you can see if I zoom in that this face represents this part of the texture where it's running around. At any point I can move this around. If I, for instance, for whatever reason, if I want to move it, I can. You'll see what will happen to the texture if I try to move this. You'll see the texture starts to move as well here. So can you see how that's happening? But we don't want to do that just because this has been already unwrapped, and it's gonna cause stretching. Um, when you start your model, it's not going to have any unwraps on it. So when you open your model up, it's not going to have these coordinates laid out. And the whole purpose of this tutorial is to show you how to actually get your model to be like that. So you can then go into the Photoshop after you've created your model, and then after you've unwrapped it, to take this coordinates, export them out into Photoshop and start to begin to create your textures. So I'll cut this tutorial short now, and then in the next tutorial I will try to explain a bit more about some of these other options that are available here, some of these ones here. We're not going to be going through all of them. Some of these are going to be utilized. We're going to be utilizing some of these when we unwrap our uh, organic model, which will be the face. So some of these make more sense to unwrap. But unwrapping a hard surface object such as a house or a building like this is much more easier, and it's less complicated because it's simple shapes. As you can see, these are rectangles and pretty much flat surfaces. You can just use a planar unwrapping option and it creates a flat version of the model. And the reason a non-conformal shape is much more difficult to unwrap because of the way it's structured, and you can get them textures really easily to stretch if it's not done properly. So for what I'll do in the next video is I'll show you how to actually begin to unwrap a model.